You know, there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, this is Jef Rhodes from Them Damn Kings, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome back a longtime guest. But before we do, I need every single one of you awesome, lovely folks out there, please go out and subscribe to the BODS Mayhem Hour YouTube page, because I need all those subscribers, folks. Come on, help me out like you all do everybody else. Come on, just give me a subscribe. That's all I ask for. And you won't be disappointed because we got a lot of great stuff coming up. But like I said, I want to welcome back an awesome, awesome guest to the show, vocalist and guitarist Jef Rhodes of Them Damn Kings. And after 2 years, finally, they have released their debut album, Rise Up. Also check out singles Throw It Away, Yesterday, and The Peel. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Throw It Away was released in 2020, right when all this crap was going on, right before it. And then it just like, sorry, shut down.
And first off, to all your listeners, man, I'm a subscriber to BOD too, man. So you guys get on there and hit that button, man. It brings you great stuff. So, yeah. I mean, it's finally here, man. Finally here. We put the, what did we put out? Throw It Away was the first one out in like 2020, man. Like right after the shit hit the fan, you know, and we're finally coming out of it, and we're finally able to put it out. We moved everything over to Earache Digital now. I wouldn't say that, we're not with the actual label part of it, but we're using their distro service right now, which is, really great for us, man. Just, another stepping stone in the ladder here, man. But yeah, we're already working on the next record already, man. So it's like, once this one starts picking up traction, then boom, we get hit with another one. So, man, it might be good.
Was it difficult to set on this album and not be able to release it because of the pandemic? I mean, you guys had to be so pissed off because it's like, all right, we got this single out, we're going to build on this, and then just nothing.
Well,
just dead in the water.
I feel like if you guys want another pandemic, then we need to release another record, because, or at least try to, because, it was insanely frustrating, man. It's, like I said on the last one, I came back after that Lacuna tour with King, and got right into the studio and made that EP because I was so fired up, and then waited a little while to get Rise Up together, and finally it was just like, all right, Ryan's available, I'm here, let's get this done, and to finally be building up some sort of momentum and traction and getting the right people working with us here, to just have it all just, especially when you're a brand new kind of emerging artist, man, it was not a great opportunity for me or anybody, really, but here we are, and hopefully it's not too late,
Well, here's the odd part is I tell everybody they should have been taking advantage of streaming services, putting your music out there, and here it's kind of the opposite, for you, like, okay, we can't put every damn song out that we have as singles off this album, because, you got to stop at some point, because you got to leave some of the meat on the bone, as I say. But for the ones who did take advantage of that, I think it was an even playing field during that time for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even with Lacuna, they did a couple live streams, and they were really trying to stick with the social. And honestly, man, I don't know if I gave up or there's so many of my friends, including myself, I've been touring for the past 20 some odd years, whether it be with this band or be, working for other artists, and, being home for almost 2 years was like, I mean, I finally got things done around the house, which was great, but like, it was is super surreal, man. I couldn't even sit down to really write, man. Every time I pick up a guitar, it was like, man, what a fucking bummer, you know? It just kept bumming me out every time. And I can definitely speak for a couple of my friends that I talked to, that it's just like, you know, we were in such a weird place in our head, man, you know, and then it's like as soon as the release date for this came up for, you know, September 30th of this year, it was like, boom, I haven't put the guitar down since, man. I've been writing like crazy, and, you know, we got a lot of new songs coming up. So this is going to be my idea. I don't want to do singles. I just want to keep pumping out records, man. You know, our management has always been up our butt to, you know, like, nobody puts out records anymore. Like, you know, just do a single every quarter. And I'm like, I can't do that, because when I'm writing, it's like, you know, this album is this moment in life, and this album is this moment in life. So I'd rather put out a record every year, man. And then if you know, people only want to listen to one song off of it, that's great. But at least the whole body of work is out there. So, you know, people can choose and find out what we're all about, instead of just, you know, here's a catalog of 7 songs and we've been out for 10 years, or here's a catalog of 200 songs and now we can go play a 10-hour show, you know, or whatever. You know, I'd rather have the catalog of tunes. I'd rather have the experiences, you know, and this is where I'm at with it all.
Did it fuel your fire even more to come back and create more music, man? Did this give you like a fresh breath of air, so to speak?
You know, man, it's going to sound weird. I feel like a little kid again, man. I'm not getting any younger for sure, but I never really get to go out and see shows. And, you know, if I do, it's always because I'm invited out there or something like that. I never really get a chance to just get out and see stuff. So, just last weekend, finally, me and our bass player Yaya, who I was hoping was going to be able to join us tonight, but we ended up going out to see a band called Bastardane over the weekend. Yeah, dude, and it was awesome. It was in Savannah, and it was in this just crummy, broken down dive bar, dude. And man, it was like being at a rock show 20 years ago. I mean, everybody, I felt like everybody in there was our friends. Everybody was friends, man. I didn't see a single cell phone up in the air the whole night. And it was awesome, man. I came out of there like on fire. I didn't get to bed till probably 6, 7 in the morning, man. I was so just like, you know, I was up here, I was writing more tunes, just playing the guitar, getting back to, you know, old school way of doing stuff. I just sat up here kind of jamming some Van Halen tunes, which I rarely, you know, do. And, yeah, man, I feel like it's just kicked my butt, man, you know, and something that I forgot about, which, you know, doesn't really seem to exist much anymore, but maybe this is, maybe it's happening again, was just the, you know, getting out there and meeting everybody and talking and hanging out. And it just opened up more opportunities for us in, you know, the local area here, which we've been trying to, like, you know, living down here. I've been living down in Savannah now since 2015. And it's just like, you know, we just can't seem to be able to play anywhere around here. And now, like, talking to these, you know, rock bands that I didn't even know existed down here, I'm just like, oh, check this venue out. What? I never even knew about this venue. And, you know, the place we went to the other night, I've never even been to. It was the first time I've heard about it, but I never got a chance to get in there. So it was really cool to just, you know, meet the you know, the owner of the bar and, you know, the promoter guy and the bartender. It was just great, man. And it really opened up a lot of things, just being able to get out there and just be in people's faces, man. Because as much as social media is important for this, it's so difficult for me to do, man. It really, really is, you know. Like, I just can't sit there, take a picture of myself and chug it up and be like, Jef Rhodes around. Things again, you know, it drives me crazy. And, you know, when I start thinking about things to do, it's just these elaborate, you know, skit things or whatever, which is, you know, and then, you know, you get into, just takes too long to do for me. But Yaya is great at the social media stuff, so I'm hoping he's going to be getting really more involved, and maybe he can start handling that, because I suck at it. I'd rather be out there with people, hanging out, or even interacting like this is great too, you know. And I wish there was more of this during a pandemic. So,
you know, I used to make fun of TikTok, as I call it, but I finally broke down and got a TikTok account, and man, I got like 715 subscribers now, and I was like, whoa,
nice.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
great.
great.
I didn't even, at the first video that I posted on there, I got like 500 and some views. I was like, wow, are you kidding me? Awesome. And I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of them said they don't even get that many for their first time. But you know, I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I like TikTok now. I do.
Yeah, man, I'm having a lot of fun with it. You know, I've been posting up some stuff there recently, and you know, for me, I can't just sit here and make something and then, you know, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to Twitter,
Right.
So I'm just trying to pick out like what I like to do, man. I'm still trying to figure that out. Whereas Yaya's really great at coming up with a post and the tags and the hash or what, you know, and the hashtags and the all that stuff. He's so good at coming up with that stuff. So, you know, I'm about to just give him here's all the account information. You deal with that. I like TikTok and YouTube, and see you later, you know.
Folks, Bastard Dane, let me tell you, that band can bring it. That album that they've got out right now is a brute. It is great. And also it features James Hetfield's son on drums. You want to check that out. They are young group. That's the same one we're talking about.
They are young, man. They're definitely young kids, man. But they are. I didn't even know, man. We do a festival down here called Savannah Stopover, and I was doing some audio work for that this previous one. And was that this year? I don't even. Yeah, I guess it was this year in like January, February here in Savannah. And Bastard Dane was one of the bands that played, and you know, I didn't even know I didn't know anything about them, you know, and they played, and I was like, dude, kick-ass, you know, metal band. So I started rapping with it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't even, where you guys from? Oh, we're from Savannah. Oh, dude, awesome, man. Like, I didn't even know we had a metal scene down here. And so then he told me, you know, like, oh, go check us out up here, you know, and then you come down and see us play sometime. And sadly, I've seen, you know, that they were playing a couple times. I just never got out to see them. But man, when I went to see them the other day, it was like night and day. Because I think when they did Stop, it was like maybe their second show or something like that. And they are a totally different band this last time around than when I first saw them. And you know, I was looking them up online the other day, and it's funny, I never put two and two together, because when I first met him, he's like, "Oh, I'm Castor," and I'm sitting there in my head for almost a year going like, "That's crazy, man. That dude looks just like friggin' James Hetfield, like back in the day, man." And like, I'm sitting here in my head the other day, and I never put two and two together because I don't really give a shit, man. But I'm like, Castor, and I'm looking up Bassett, and I'm like, holy crap, it is this kid, man. So that really kind of blew my mind, you know. It was like, wow, that's awesome, man. I'm just glad he's out there and doing it, man. And, you know, whether he ever listens to this or not, man, like, I'd love to just tell that guy, like, I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing, and you're not one of those kids who are like, my daddy is, you know, James Hetfield, so therefore, like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. You know what? They are not a band doing that. They are out there pounding the pavement, man, doing it just like we are, you know, like just full on rock and roll style, man. And I thought that was awesome. I mean, that show was it was amazing, man. Like I said, it was like being a kid 20 years ago back in New York City at like CBGB's, man. And it was magical. So if you guys, you know, ever get a chance to check out Bastard Dane, you know, including them damn Kings, you know, go check them out, and make sure you check out Bastard Dane live too, because they fucking bring it.
What led the song "Throw It Away" to be the first track released off this debut album back in 2020, man? Was it just the first track that you guys had and you said, no, let's go with this one? Because I'm sure there's others that could have been the first release off this.
No, we had the whole record was done. I got the album back from mastering like 3 days before it went into lockdown. I don't really know why Throw It Away was the first one out there. I think, you know, I was probably either talking to management and Ryan about everything, and like, hey, let's, you know, we got to get a song out there. I don't know. I honestly don't remember why we picked that one, other than like, you know, it's got a cool, you know, steady, you know, rock and groove you can crank up in your car. And it was easy to film. It was the only one we could really think about that was easy to film. Because I didn't want to do a video that was, you know, like four guys, you know, in the corner that like everybody was doing, where you're doing a song and you just see the four guys in the corner of the screen. I'm like, how can we do this? Because, you know, Ryan lives in Spokane, Washington. I'm in Georgia now, so we're 3,000 miles apart. And was like, well, screw it. Let's just try to film this all on our iPhone. So Yaya did that. I did that at the time. My buddy Goji was helping us out, so he ended up filming on his iPhone in his place, and I just kind of worked and pieced it together and found a way to actually make it work. So we were actually able to release a video, music video for the song, and I think that's more why we went with that, because it was just like it just kind of came together with being able to do the video.
So are these all brand new songs, Jeff? Are these songs that didn't make, like, say, a previous project that you were working on or anything like that? Or no?
I don't work like that, man. Like,
okay.
I'll occasionally revisit, things that I've done in the past where I'm like, I really, really, really liked where this was going. And then, because I'll sit here in the studio, man, and, I'll hit on the record button and I'll just, throw on a drum track or, I'll find something cool, man. And I'll just jam on a riff, and if it doesn't work out, it just kind of goes into the back burner pile to be revisited later or something. And I just constantly I'll sit here and probably come up with 20, 30 riffs tonight if I sit down and play stuff, and maybe one of them I'll be like, yeah, this is it. So when it comes to actually the writing problem, I mean, I probably had 20 or 30 songs during that recording session for Rise Up. And Rise Up wasn't even written when Ryan got here. I mean, he got here and we laid down probably 15, 20 tracks that were, thought out in the past month or so that he got. And I just sent him a couple riffs also. And, for the actual song Rise Up, we were sitting outside just kind of taking a break from the recording process. And he's like, all I had for Rise Up was just the beginning riff, that da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it wasn't even like that. It was something different. And he's like, I really, really, really like that riff that you had. What's that? So we started jamming that, and he's like, hey, maybe we could put this over top. So we grabbed our beer, man, and we ran back inside. He got behind the drums. I ran up to the studio, plugged my guitar in, and, we went, that song was probably written in about, if it's 5 minutes long, it took 5 minutes to write everything minus the actual lyrics. So the way I like to, if I had it my way, I'd have everybody in the same room at the same time with no idea what we're going to do and hit the record button and come out a week later and see what songs we got, That's the way I really like to do it, because a year from now, the things I was writing today are not going to be the things that, I'm thinking about a year from now. So I like to try to capture what's happening in the moment that I'm in, or we're all in, or even what's happening in the world at this particular moment, and then move on. Then a year later, it's going to be something different. But maybe I'll go back and revisit something, and it'll be like, this is really cool, man. This is kind of the new direction of everything. So you never know.
Yeah, that's what I said to a lot of these bands that's been on the podcast. Like, you could be writing stuff during this pandemic. Everybody's like, we've got 3 to 4 albums already. And I'm going, wow, that's insane. But are we really going to see those songs come to the light of day? Because like you just said, man, 2 years, a year from now, you could be in a totally different mind frame and look at those albums that you recorded and in the pandemic, and you'd be like, I don't want them out. Those are junk. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like things change. But I'd like to see some of these albums come out, because I think a lot of these bands had more time to focus more on that album and what they were doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Recently, for most everybody who follows and pays attention, knows I'm a huge Randy Rhodes and Zakk Wylde fan. And for some weird reason, man, I respect Eddie Van Halen, all those guys, but for some reason I've come back to Van Halen again, and I've just been listening to them like crazy and watching this thing. And I just saw a video the other day of some studio tour that they did over at Eddie's place. And holy shit, man, they walk into this one room and it is just an entire wall of shelves and shelves and shelves of, reel-to-reels that they've recorded in the studio. And I'm scratching my head going imagine how many hundreds, if not thousands, of Van Halen songs are just sitting on that shelf that will never, ever see the light of day. And he's talking kind of the same thing that made me feel kind of a connection about that, because he's like, I'd sit there and we'd hit record and I'd jam something out and it didn't work and we move on, and it's just like, God, I'd love to, if I hit that Powerball, dude, I would have, here's $1 billion, man, buying all these, and I just want to listen to them all, and anybody who ever wants to come over to my house and listen to them, man, but, that'd be amazing. So, yeah, I just think about all the music that's never going to see the light of day,
Yep.
It's
that's
so
sad.
crazy to me, man. So crazy to me. And I love it. I probably got 2,000 over the course of the years. I probably got, since I moved into the Pro Tools platform, I probably got a good 2,000 at least basis of a song, or, you know, a good idea or some riffs. And it's like, wow, if this ever really does do something, man, you know, then I'm gone. It's like, wow, my poor girl's gonna get stuck with 4,000 or 5,000, you know, and it's like, what is gonna happen to those, man? You know, it's it's interesting.
Was there a track that you guys were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to? Was there one that changed a lot or no?
Well, Rise Up definitely was, you know, one of those songs that was not intended to sound anything like that. And, you know, honestly, listening to the record, and I think because me and Ryan wrote it together, it's a bit darker and a little bit more offbeat than what's happening on the rest of the record. I think maybe, you know, Throw It Away was kind of put together. I'm not sure if I had that riff particularly. Most of them really kind of stayed true to what they were. There were a couple songs that didn't make the album that turned into something a lot different that I really hope to be able to put out, you know, at some point in time, maybe like a B-sides thing, or like, here's a collection of shit that nobody's ever, you know, gonna hear on a record. Those really changed shape, but really the stuff we did was a lot of the B-side stuff that we had done was, you know, kind of written a month, 6 weeks before, and most of the stuff that made the record was done really kind of within that weekend that we tracked the drums, and, you know, the prior week before Ryan got out here. So it was all very similar structure and kind of stayed the same. It was like I say, you know, I'd like to, whatever's going to happen in that moment, you know, we just boom, 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 you know, we hit something and it would come out, and it's, you know, so nothing really changed too much, other than I never really have too much of a thought on what's happening with the lyrics and the beginning of the writing process. So usually we'll lay down a song first, and then I'll try to figure out lyrics afterwards. But sometimes, you know, I'll sit up here jamming, and all this chorus will come to my head, and then it's like, all right, you know, and we'll build off of that and make a song. And it's a fun process, man, because it's always kind of different, you know, every time.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this album? I know these are your babies. I understand that completely. But are there any that stand out for you possibly?
Good Enough is one of my favorites. That one was written at the very, very last minute. In fact, Ryan, he didn't play on that one. I actually ended up using, at the beginning of the recording, I'll always take some samples of, you know, his drums or whoever's playing on the record, for just in case, you know, later during the, you know, recording process or the mixing or mastering, like, this one kick drum hit didn't work out, and I can just replace it with the actual hit, you know, you know, at least we're not using, you know, the fake crap. So it's still here. But anyway, that song wasn't recorded when he was here. It just we were just about to send the record out to mastering, and I was tinkering around, and I wrote that song, probably lyrics, music, everything, in like 4 minutes. It just poured out, and I sent that back to our manager, and he was like, dude, this has got to be on the record. This is amazing. And I love playing that song. It's one of my favorite songs to play live. It's great. It's got such a kind of, you know, it's a rock and roll / punk rock kind of vibe to it. And I love how it's just kind of in your face. And it's funny, the beginning part that's in it, I was hammered when I wrote that, man. I had a little practice amp sitting in the studio, and I was just kind of jamming on this thing with a wah-wah pedal, and I recorded it. And I don't even remember doing it, because I got out of bed the next morning. I came up here, and I was like, oh, what's this thing that's left on my computer? I never even closed my computer. And I was like, what is that, man? And I sat there for probably 2 hours trying to remember and figure out what I played. And I've come really close to it, but it'll never be the same. And you know, as I was listening to that riff, the song just kind of came. I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just try to put something, and then boom, it just happened within, you know, the 4 or 5 minutes of how long the song is. And sometimes that's how it works, man, you know. So I'm happy about that song. I'm really proud. It's a song that means a lot to me too, you know, just in the mindset I was in and what I was thinking about. So
was there any songs that didn't make this album that we're going to see on an upcoming album, or maybe just a one-off single, maybe, possibly?
Yes, there is definitely one song that I'd like to put out there, man, that I personally thought it fit more of the direction I really wanted to go into. And when I was talking about when we were putting everything together, and they've always talked about artists having the creative control and all that stuff. And we had so many songs that were done. I was just kind of, we would have had a quadruple disc record, So I threw everything over to management, and I was like, dude, help me pick, and we just kind of ran through. And I was like, what? You don't want this song, man? And he's like, it's really kind of, I don't know, very too rock and roll. It is a very, very guitar-oriented song. And I was like, how the hell can it be too rock and roll? And I have played it live before, so it's definitely, I think it's going to be on the next record, because all of a sudden now listening to more Eddie Van Halen, I've been kind of, my brain's been getting out of that, my style's been getting out of the Black Label thing, and all that. Not that I'm shying away. I mean, I can't get away from Zach, man, but this is kind of leading me more to want to do this, and I was a little we came up with a couple things that I sent to Yaya before we went to that show, and I was like, man, this, I can kind of understand how this might be a little too rock, and maybe it doesn't fit the model of what's happening in rock and roll right now. And then, of course, after seeing Bastidane, I was like, fuck this, I'm doing whatever I want, man. Because if you do what you want, you're happy with what you're doing, and you love what you're doing, that's going to translate, man. And I don't give a shit if you throw tomatoes at us or you come and, I just want to inspire people out there to, just do what you want to do, man, and be happy doing it. And, if this new record sounds completely different than this record, I don't care, man, because you're still going to get them damn Kings on it.
That's what I've always said, even about my podcast, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I think when bands do that and they stay to theirself and be true to theirself and be true to their sound, that's when you get the best albums and the best work from everybody in a band, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I think a lot of that is what's missing from a lot of the music these days. I mean, you take Van Halen, you take Zeppelin, you take all those guys, this was take Queen, man, these guys just locked themselves away in a room, and, they wrote music together. And, a lot of nowadays, I think it's, maybe one guy or, maybe two guys in a band who will come up with everything, and that's the way it is. And it works for them, but I think there's more of, everybody needs to be involved in it, in the writing process, because, your feelings are different than my feelings, or maybe we're all in this harmonious spot at this particular point in time. Maybe the energy is completely right and we're all feeling this way. And, so I think it's more real for me that way, to have that. And it's important. And I mean, it really translates with fans. Our guitar player, Lando, he actually just quit the band a couple months ago, and we did a farewell show with him. But, I love the guy, and he made a choice because he's got a family, and he just wants to focus on his family. And I get it, man. Like, it's hard doing this stuff. We don't make any money, man. And, it's definitely a difficult situation. Everybody comes home broke. But, he just wasn't happy doing it anymore, and that was starting to translate live, and I was hoping, we never talked about it, I was hoping that he would, would just kind of refit back in, but it just didn't, he just did not want to be there. And you could tell the people who were watching us, just, you could see that they weren't as engaged as they normally are. Not that they weren't engaged, they were still having a great time, but it was just a different vibe, and I could feel that coming back from the audience. And, it's because one of the guys in the band wasn't feeling it anymore, man. And so that really, really translates, We're not a band that's really rehearsed, I would say. I don't know what I'm going to say next, in a live situation, where we don't have any pre-planned moves or how anything's going to work. It just, however we're feeling that day is what's going to happen,
So former Lacuna Coil drummer Ryan Folden and yourself produced the album. How did he come into the fold, and how's working with him, man?
I mean, I've known Ryan now, I don't know if we talked about this or people know, but I've been working with Lacuna Coil for about 15 years now. I'm their front of house audio engineer in the United States, and so I've known Ryan for 15 years now. And he's one of my best friends. I mean, we still talk basically every day, man. And so the EP, I did the drums myself, and I'm a terrible drummer, and a lot of it was manipulated on the EP just to get it sounding right, because I tried, and I'm a terrible drummer. So he quit Lacuna Coil right before we did the Rise Up, and I called him up and I was like, hey man, how would you feel about working together on this? And he was like, yeah, send me over the tunes, man. And working with him he's one of the most amazing drummers I've ever met in my life, man. He's incredible. Like, this is a guy, like, everything you hear on Rise Up is basically like a one take with Ryan, man. Even some of the songs he didn't get before he got out here, and I just sat on a microphone up in the tracking in the tracking room while he's down there in the live room, and I'm just telling him, like, okay, chorus is coming up in the next measure, and boom, he just vibe right into it. And not a lot of drummers can do that, and his timing's impeccable, and he's a great guy to be around, man. I mean, I have so much fun when I'm around him, and our vibe together is amazing. But sadly, I don't think he's going to be doing much touring any time in the near future. But this next record that we're working on, he's probably going to come out again and be on this next record after Rise Up also. But can you expect to see Ryan out there? We'll see what happens down the road, but it's probably unlikely.
What do you hope everyone takes away while listening to these new songs, or just them King's music in general? What do you hope they get from it, man, when they start to listen to this?
Dude, I just want to bring back rock and roll. I just want people to get rock and roll again, man.
That's it.
It was about having a great time, especially for this. Like, I can remember, like Van Halen 1984, man, that record. I remember exactly when I got that record, or I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly where I was the first time I listened to an Ozzy record. And, I want that to be special for people too, man, with the music that we create. And, one thing people will always ask, and I'm glad that you haven't, people will always ask, oh, what does this song mean to you? And what is this? You're never going to get what it means to me. I'm never going to tell you, because I don't want to influence what it's going to mean for you. And right. I think that's important, that somebody, that you get to take away your emotions and your thoughts and everything from, our music, instead of me force feeding and telling you, like, oh, it's about this or it's about that, and like Rage Against the Machine. I listen to them, and I do like Rage Against the Machine, but once everybody always in the topic when it's interviewed is like, oh, we're political and we're against it, and they're like, fuck, I didn't want to know that, man. Now every time I listen to one of their songs, I think it's it's too clear cut for me now. Yeah. I want people to I want you to make up your own thing. That's why when I do the videos, like, I try to keep them very abstract, because I don't want you to really formulate an opinion. I really love, like, the Guns N' Roses videos, where I remember when they did all the stuff for, like, User Illusion, where it's like, what's happening? What's going on in the video? And, like, there was all this, like, stuff in the tabloids and, like, even MTV later on of, like, what did they mean by this video? No, I never wanted to know the answer, because I'm like, you know what, man, this is what this video means to me. This is what this song means to me.
Does a song or a video have to have a meaning? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, just let it go.
I know what it means for me. I know.
Right.
You know what's interesting? Some of the songs that, like Good Enough, for example, I know exactly why I wrote that song. I know exactly what it's about. And it's interesting, because some people come up to me and they'll talk to me about that song, and they'll tell me something completely different than what the song means to me. And it changes everything for me, and it's like, it's really fucking cool for me to also hear what it means to you, I was going through something a couple weeks ago, and I was actually talking to Ryan, and he actually threw out the words to Good Enough, about something we were talking about. And I'm like, holy shit, I never viewed my situation that way, where you just threw my own words in my face, and that just took on a completely different meaning for me now. So it's really awesome just to see how, because Ryan doesn't even know what the hell the song means to me, so it's like, I don't want him to know, because I know what it means to him, and I think that's super, super, super important when it comes to art and music, man. And
All right, my friend, how could folks stay in touch with them damn Kings, buy some merchandise, tour dates, this album especially, and folks go buy it? Pick it up somehow, some way, do it.
Man, thank you.
But how can they do that, Jeff?
Well, we still have a couple hard copies. Actually, you know what? I don't think we do have a couple hard. We may have 2 or 3 hard copies left. But other than that, you can go up to the www.themdamnkings.com, where you can find all our socials and our merch store and our tour dates and everything that's happening with the band. But you can also find, our music is available worldwide through Earache Digital right now. You can Apple and Amazon, Spotify, all the usual suspects, and every social media platform at Them Damn Kings. So super easy to find. Just do a Google search or get on Facebook or Instagram. But please, if you guys can, go check out our stuff on YouTube. YouTube is very important for us. Get up there and subscribe. We don't see, bro, we make no money when we come out and play for you guys, and we're thankful to come out and play for you guys. We make barely any money online, so please go out there and help us, man. Get up, watch the videos, subscribe to the YouTube, because we can't even monetize till we hit X amount of subscribers and X amount of view times. So, it's a fucking stupid world, but, please go up there, and, you can always get in touch with us through Facebook and Instagram too, man. And I'm always happy to talk to people and write them back too.
I know the pain, because you got to have 1,000 subscribers for YouTube and plus 4,000 hours of watch time, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
But I understand why they do it, because everybody, if it was so easy, everybody could do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think we're up to just about 900 subscribers now. So, we've it's, I want to just, we had a great response off the last tour we did with Gemini Syndrome. And, I think for us, it's super important that we get out there and play shows, and we're working on it. So, hopefully once we get the new tour together, you'll have us back and we'll be able to announce it, through here. And, man, thank you so much for allowing me to come on your show again, man. Thank you.
No problem. I enjoy talking with you. Hey, before I let you go, would you care to do another promo for my show?
Absolutely, man. Hey, this is Jef Rhodes from Them Damn Kings, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link, and you definitely want to subscribe to that YouTube link. So help me out and help Jeff out and all these folks. And please, folks, check out Them Damn Kings. Their new album's out right now entitled Rise Up. And check out all the singles that they got out right now. Throw It Away, Yesterday, and The Peel. Give this band a fair shot. I guarantee you'll like them. So, Jeff, my friend, thank you for coming back on the podcast, and you're welcome on here anytime you want.
Man, thank you very much for having me. And don't you guys forget to get out there and subscribe, man, to BODS Mayhem Hour. And,
that's right.
Come along and subscribe up to Them Damn Kings, too. Thank you for having me.
All right. No problem, Jeff.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.